back to Becoming Better Together. I'm your host, Brie. Let's get started. I want to ask you a very important question today regarding money. And money is one of those topics that we do not like to discuss. Religion, sex, politics, money. They're taboo. We don't talk about them. Let's crack that wide open today. And let's talk about our relationship with money and how it impacts literally every other part of your life. Whether you have a good relationship with money, money buys you whatever you need. It affords you a certain lifestyle. It lets you invest in your business. It lets you invest in yourself. It lets you see the world or not, or see your community or whatever it is that you want to do with your money. Money gives us freedom. Money can give us wonderful things. It also is one of those words that when I say, hey, how do you feel about money? Suddenly all these negative emotions come up. More than often when I talk to people and I mention money, it usually comes with a negative emotion. There's something evil about it. There's something that there isn't enough of it. There's never enough money. It's sand. It flows through my bank account. I hear this all the time. When it comes to you now, you, my listener, how is your relationship with money? Are you a magnet to attract more money into your life? Or are you a repellent and you're constantly repelling money away from you? Ooh, that can carry some weight. You're like, I don't really want to be a repellent. However, I don't really feel that abundant, Brie. I don't really feel like I'm attracting more. Okay, how do we change this? Because we can change whatever side of this magnet we are on, right? And if you flip a magnet to the other side, guess what? You're either going to attract something with the same or opposite charge, or you're going to repel it away. We want to become money magnets. How do we do this? That's the ultimate question, right? Okay, if I can attract money, how do I do it? Let's go over a couple ways today. The first thing you need to know is, what is my relationship right now? Absolutely, where do I start? Otherwise, you'll never know where you want to go with it. So, what is your current relationship with money? Is it positive? Is it negative? A way to really uncover this in yourself, think about where your money triggers show up. And triggers are beautiful lessons because triggers are our teachers. And so when you get a bill in the mail, when you get an email in your inbox that says you owe blank, how does it make you feel? What triggers you right now when it comes to money and your attitude with it? Is it when your spouse enters the room and says, hey, we can't afford this right now? Is it when your child asks you a question because they want to go to the newest, greatest movie and you think, I don't know if we need to spend money here? What is it that triggers you in your life? What I want you to do is I want you to create a list of all of those places that you can think of right now. So pause me if you need to. If you're driving, do this later. But I want you to think of all the many places that you get triggered when you hear about money, especially when it comes to not having enough of it. Because usually we're going to get triggered a lot faster by not having enough money compared to having too much of it. And what we can do once you understand these triggers, once we complete step one, we know where we're starting. We can decide what to do about it. But so many times, we don't even want to look there. We don't want to build awareness because it's money, it's hard, it's taboo, we don't want to talk about it, right? And so maybe you've been asked this before. Let's uncover your money needs, right? Or maybe you've had somebody try to get you to do a budget. I come from finance. I have sent out many budgets in my lifetime. I have done many budgets myself. Sometimes they're very eye-opening and they can give us a path to move on to next. Sometimes we rip the budget up, we throw it away, and we never want to look at it again. It doesn't matter where you're starting right now. The important part is that you start to lift the curtain on yourself so that you can understand where your money beliefs lie. Once you know where you start, you can develop a roadmap to become the magnet to attract more. All right, so what are your triggers today when it comes to money? List as many as you can. Think back in time. Think back to childhood. Go back as far as you need to. When were you first triggered about not having enough money? What was it that you wanted to buy? Do you remember? I'm trying to think. For me, it was probably one thing that I still remember hearing a lot from my parents was, I was a competition dancer growing up. So tap, jazz, ballet, lyrical, whole shebang. We did all of it. And costumes were not cheap. They were very, very expensive. And so I was told, sorry mother for this, I was told I was an expensive child a lot. You're very expensive. There was one number in particular. I think the costume at the time cost about $250. It was a tap dance, and we were chickens with all these rhinestones and feathers and all of it. And it was $250 for one costume. My sister and I combined were probably in 14 dance numbers during that season. Not even the year, the season. And so that was a lot to spend on one dance costume. So I remember going to these competitions, hearing how expensive I was because I was the one in this number. And so those little memories that you have along the way, I want you to go back and see, like, what do you remember hearing growing up about money? Were you an expensive child? Were you a needy child? Did you need more than your siblings? Whatever it was. What was your relationship growing up with money? That's step 2. Hey, what's my relationship now? But what was it like growing up? How was I first exposed to money? Did my parents talk about it? Was it really taboo? I don't know. Write it down. It matters. And then the third thing I want you to uncover is, how much money do I actually want? And I want you to make this number big. And I want you to uncover, how does that feel? Because a lot of times, this is one of my favorite activities. And so I will have somebody write down their income goals for me for the year. And then we will have them 10x it. Put a 0 on it. 10 times that, baby, and make it bigger. The emotions that I get on the other side of that are hilarious, because this is one of those triggers. Either it feels like, oh, that is impossible. It's absolutely impossible. If I say I want $1 million and now you're telling me to put a 0 and I'm going to put 10 million, I have no freaking clue how to do that in a year. Are you kidding me? And I get people to be angry at me. That's one of my favorites. I also get the guilt and the feeling like, oh, that's too much money. I don't need that much. That's too much. Nobody really needs that much. And that'll uncover a big belief right there too. Who says that's too much? According to who? And that shows too, hint, hint, that's somebody that's trying to repel money, whether they believe it or not, whether they mean to or not, because it feels bad to have that much. And so this is something that I had to uncover in myself about money beliefs. There is not a finite amount out there. Money is energy. And the more that I have come to terms with that, the more that money is flowing in. But in the past, when I had a very bad relationship with money, when I had a very bad money mindset, I really thought that there was a very limited amount of money. And either there were a lot of rich people and they had it, and there were a lot of people struggling to try to get it. And it was never going to pass between the two in a fair way. I really thought that for a long, long, long time. And that's the case probably in a lot of places still. However, there's always a way to bring more into your situation. There's always a way for you to do more with your money and give it to others. And if we can bring in more, we can do more with it. And being a person that wants more money to make more impact and influence and have more to give, that does not make you one of the rich assholes, the elite, the top, the selfish. And for a long time, I believed it did. And so now I want to make more money because I want to impact more. I want to have more of an influence. I want to be able to help and serve more. And I don't feel dirty saying that anymore. But for years, I definitely did. And so maybe you're on that spectrum right now. Okay, that doesn't mean you are evil. That does not mean you are wrong. And so we need to toy with these beliefs. We need to understand what our own money beliefs are so that we can get through this. So where are you starting today? Number 1. 2, how did you grow up with money? Would you hear about it growing up? What labels were placed on you about being an expensive child or not? And then the third thing, how much money do you truly, truly want? How much do you want? And then put another 0 on it and see what emotions that brings up. See how it feels. And then what we're going to do over time, if you keep listening to this podcast, we're going to learn how to strengthen our relationship with money, turn our triggers into our teachers, and open us up, flip the magnet around instead of repelling it away from our bank accounts, taking that sand and letting it just run right through and going, I don't know what happened to my money. I don't know, Brie, I got paid and suddenly it was all gone. Raise your hand if you've been here before. I have been here before, so there's no shame there. I've been that person that got the best commission check I've ever had in my life, and then a month later, I somehow had less money in my bank account than I ever did before. I've been in both of these situations, so there's no shame here wherever you're showing up. The important part is you're willing to do the work. And if you're here listening, guess what? You're my unicorn people. You're willing to do the work. So answer those 3 questions for me today. 1, what are my beliefs about money right now? What do I believe? Where am I starting out? 2, how did money impact me as a child? What was I told about money? Where are those beliefs maybe bleeding through into today's life? And then 3, how much do I actually want? How much do you want? And it's important to know that number, to say that number, and to admit that number. Because people that write this number down, you are more likely to attract it into your life. You are more likely to put yourself in front of the opportunities that are going to give you that number back. And so if we hide from this number, if we hide from the fact that, yeah, we do want more money so that we can do more, be more, and have more of everything, life experience, impact, gratitude, all of it, if we hide from that and shy away from it because it feels not great, you'll never get there. And so we can get stuck. Even though we're in a great financial situation, you can still be stuck in deficiency. You can still be stuck in lack. So we need to flip this on its head, and we will. So this is part 1. You're going to get more money mindset as we go on. So stay tuned for part 2 about how, once you know what these beliefs are, come back Friday, because we're going to talk about how we can use these beliefs, flip them on their head, start to give thanks to where you're at right now on your money journey. And because when we give thanks, we can open ourselves up to receiving, and then we can become those magnets. And who doesn't want to be a magnet for money? Am I right? So come back Friday. This is what I've got for you today. I just wanted to get you thinking. And if you're like me and you're like, oh, but I want the answer right now, Brie, I'm that person. I can't watch shows week to week anymore. As soon as Netflix came out and it was an entirely new system of TV for me, I became a binger. I'll be totally honest. And so I binge podcast episodes just the same. If you're a binger, sorry, you have to hang tight. But if you want an extra surprise to go with money mindset, inside my Facebook group right now, look for Becoming Better Together. It's a Facebook group. That's where this all started. We're doing a whole week of money mindset journaling and how to turn your current money mindset to become more of a magnet and attract more abundance into your life. And so if you want more of this and you can't wait, we're at Wednesday, so we're halfway through the week now. Come join us. Come join us inside the group. You'll get 7 days of this, and it'll open your brain up. It'll show you the places that maybe you are a little stuck right now, but it'll give you some new ideas as, again, to give thanks to where you're at, have peace with it, instead of having the feelings of, when money comes up, I don't like this, right? This isn't good. It makes me feel bad. It makes me feel negative. It makes me feel like I should be further. We can start to change those feelings over time, to love money, to feel joy, to feel abundant, to have peace with it wherever you're at. And then when you are vibrating in those higher emotions, when you're in that higher level of consciousness, that's when you become a magnet. So stay tuned for more. I'll come back with more of this on Friday. But for now, answer those questions, get clear with where you start. And if you want more and you're a binge episode person like me, join us on Facebook in the Facebook group. I will see you all there.